day after that, my mom calls me and then she's like, I'm just checking in, and she has a cousin who is a pastor, so one of my uncles back home.
Okay.
And then she was like, oh, he called her and he told her that God had a message for me.
Yeah.
So I remember I wrote a list of companies and I'm like, God, like,
just help me run one or two.
Exactly. I didn't get any of them. Rejection. The job I ended up getting, something that I was a very proud person before, like something that I would have never done. I wasn't even comfortable doing itself when I was doing it. I needed to do it just to like
make ends meet.
In that job, my pride was stripped. Like I was broke, like I said. So that's BFN Core. BFN Accelerate is you've built a product that has started selling. They get up to 25K per company as well.
$25,000.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So entrepreneurship is about service, right? It's about helping. And going back to
BFN is changing lives.
This is Young and Abroad.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Young and Abroad. If you are new on this podcast, we talk about the highs and lows of navigating life as an immigrant in a new country. Today, we're going to be discussing something very interesting. I have a special guest here with me. A common question that you hear a lot is, as an immigrant, can you actually start a business? Can you own something of your own? Can you even be an employer of labor? Or are we all just stuck in this rat race of trying to climb the corporate ladder? Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but is it even an option being an immigrant? And I have the best person here to discuss this topic. He is a visionary in the area of entrepreneurship and has helped several businesses raise millions of dollars in funding. Okay, so today here we have Efosa Obano. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this episode. So if you've ever considered starting a business or you own a business of your own, you definitely want to stick around, stay on, because yeah, it's going to be packed. So yeah, today we're just going to be learning more about your journey and how you were able to start this legacy movement of BFN. So it's Black Founders Network. I remember when I stumbled on it on social media, I was just so inspired seeing so many Black people, young people coming together and just seeing that community, doing more research and seeing how you actually support so many people through their entrepreneurial journeys. But yeah, so I typically like to just start by learning more about my guests and just getting to know you. So we know Efosa, the founder of BFN and the, entrepreneurial giant. But we want to get to know you a bit more, as much as you're comfortable sharing. So what was growing up like? I'm guessing you moved from Nigeria, but
I did,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
I did, yes. No, thank you again for having me, and hi everyone. Thank you for watching, and you're too kind with your introduction. I'm just one person in the movement. I think BFN is really about the community. It's about everyone, all the entrepreneurs that have built it. But to answer your question, so I grew up in Nigeria. I was born and raised in Nigeria, grew up in Lagos in Nigeria, and spent my primary school years in Lagos. We lived in a part of Nigeria when I was a kid called Abanikoro, so very close to Ghana.
Okay, I'm familiar, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, growing up, my parents weren't like wealthy or anything, so we didn't have the best conditions as a kid. And I think that was maybe when the entrepreneurial sort of drive started. But yeah, that was childhood. I went to high school in Abuja.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
okay.
I went to boarding school. So I moved when I was like 10.
Okay.
I went to a school called Loyola Jesuit College.
Oh, okay. That's for like the really intelligent people.
So they say.
Yes. Wow, that's really great.
Yeah, the entrance exam, I know there used to be such a big deal about it then.
Yes.
So yeah, that was also a good time. I spent some time in Loyola before moving here. And yeah, I'll say the first thing I wanted to do or become when I was a kid, funny enough, was a soccer player.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still play?
I still do. Not as much as I used to, but
nice.
Yeah, I played for primary school. I played for Loyola, like my high school.
Oh, like competitions.
competitively.
Wow,
I
nice.
played for U of T as well when I was here. So I played
Oh, okay.
for a while. It's because I started wearing glasses. But I think that was
You
when it
decided
was
to
really
just.
hard. Because yeah, like like
I
carrying.
mean, there's contacts. You never know.
Yeah. Now, to be
You
fair, if I
can.
was growing up today, like maybe I would have probably laser surgery or contacts or something.
Fair enough.
Yeah, back then I didn't even know about this thing. Um,
Mhm.
it was from growing up, like, we didn't have things that maybe now we take for granted. And I was a very curious kid. So I would always ask my parents, how come some parts of the world, what you see on TV and stuff, had,
It's very different from.
things are functional, things are
Yeah.
working. And I was always reading and trying to do research as well. So that was how I learned about entrepreneurs or about companies as, the entities that created these things that I wanted to see or experience.
Wow, that's really nice. And did you move here for your undergrad, or did you?
So I moved here for undergrad, yeah. So I
Oh,
left
okay, nice.
after Loyola, I left Nigeria. So I got
Okay.
into U of T by God's grace.
Nice. Did you move with family, or was it just you?
Just me. So that was 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was meant to go to the US. So I applied to schools outside Nigeria because I think Loyola going there really sort of changed what I thought was possible. Because I think prior to going there, I didn't even have any dream of leaving
Nigeria.
It was just, you have to go to primary school and then high school and then, but yeah,
Get a job and
start your life. And my parents either they couldn't even afford it honestly at the time, like when I started Loyola. But I was with a lot of ambitious people, a lot of driven people. And I think that if there's anything, because the school wasn't people really from the outside looking in have a perspective or an opinion
yeah,
about the school.
like it's one of the top schools. Yeah.
Yeah, but there were a lot of things that weren't great about the experience. Little things like you couldn't eat food from outside.
I heard that they search your bags when you're resuming school from holidays just to make sure.
And I broke all those rules. I was a good student.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah,
wow.
God has changed me.
I'll never have imagined.
Yeah, people who know me from back then, they know. So it was mixed experience. But I think the best thing was the people I connected with and how they changed.
My perspective.
My friends, some of my closest friends today are still people
Oh, really?
I went there with.
I considered the US too, to be honest. I actually got an admission in the US, but I don't know, for some reason, I just preferred Canada. I had never been here. Same. I didn't know anyone that lived here, but I was just like, this Canada, I'm coming to just figure it out. Because both my siblings went for masters in the UK. So it was just kind of like, okay, UK would be the next thing. And my parents really wanted that.
Siblings, right?
Yes, I have two older siblings, and so they really wanted that for me. But I think my own reason for really wanting Canada was because it seemed like there was more opportunities to start a career here and just explore that before going back home.
How long ago did you move here?
5 years. 5 years. So I'm still fresh compared to
5 years is a long time too.
Yes, fair enough.
Yeah, things were definitely 12 when I moved at the time. Yeah, nobody was coming to Canada then, at least from my circle.
Honestly, you should have warned us. You should have told us to pack our bags. But yeah,
like you, I got into US schools. I applied to mostly US schools, more than 10, a lot of them.
Okay.
Got a lot of admissions, so I was very hell bent on that.
So what led you to going with Canada?
So I have an uncle who lives here. So that was the one person I knew. And he was very, he made me apply to U of T just because it's like, okay, I want you to apply to this, school. Mm-hmm. So I really did it because of him at the time, to be honest. And everything else was US. And I was like, I got my admissions. I was sure I was going there with my friends.
Okay.
But then at the time, there were a lot of shootings and stuff in the US.
Oh, wow.
I remember one holiday and my parents, were watching the news and it's all of that. So my mom was very, security conscious and worried. So because I got into U of T, then all of a sudden U of T just became an option. My uncle was very it's a lot safer, which truly Canada, I guess, it's safer. I wasn't happy about it, to be honest, at the time.
I can imagine.
So yeah, I thank God. I mean, God, I feel like also just high level, it was probably God just leading my steps here.
I can relate to that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So I'm just wondering, when you first arrived to Canada, like, did you ever imagine yourself starting a business? Because I find that for a lot of us immigrants, when we move here, immediately you want to start finding a job. I remember the day I landed, from the day I landed, I started working on my resume. And so I moved for my master's, but I still really wanted to work while still doing that. So there's just that you're almost kind of plunged into survival mode and constantly trying to, get a job and just get a source of income. So did starting a business or starting something like BFN even cross your mind when you first came?
That's a good question. So because I moved for undergrad, I was
fair enough.
I was just trying to get through school at the time. But echoing everything you said, I mean, it was a very tough start, because then Canada was even, now there's like African people, there's community, there's all this like Black people, and but then it was different. Like then I was like, it was me and one other Black guy in our program, like in our whole program at UFT at the time. A Ghanaian guy who eventually became my co-founder of the first thing I did for BFN.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So when I came here, like adapting to the weather, the winter was a lot worse than it is now. There was,
I can't even imagine, because the winter of now, I'm just like, no, did I make the right choice going to this country?
This is like, thank God for global warming, because this is better.
This is better. Wow.
Back then, it used to be really cold. And also, today there's African restaurants, and African store.
Yeah.
Then all those things didn't exist.
Wow.
So it was tough. I was like cold. I was missing home food. I was.
I can imagine.
So that was, I wasn't even thinking
starting a business or
the first thing I started was the African Students Association at U of T.
Wow. Okay.
That was because I was with this Ghanaian guy, Ernest. We were both in the management program on our campus, and we were both.
Oh, your undergrad was in management?
Yes, my undergrad was in strategic management. Yeah.
Oh, nice. My master's was in management.
Oh, nice. Where did you do yours?
York University.
Yeah, a lot of my friends a lot of people eventually went to York. There were a lot of Nigerians in York towards the end.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, Ernest and I decided to restart that with a few other Africans that we had sort of met, because we had similar challenges. You leave your home country because you want better life, sort of still give back to home at some point. So we connected over those things. And that was my first, I'd say entrepreneurial, although it was not a business.
Yeah, it wasn't
something. The purpose was a lot more cultural and social.
Community building. Yeah.
And whatnot. So we'd have a lot of conversations. I've seen a lot of similarities between our different countries. There was this desire from a lot of us to do something about making home better, but we were very students, and no one would really take us seriously. So some of us had tried to start some little thing here and there, but it was very difficult. It was the same sort of challenge you have when you're trying to get your first job and people are asking you for experience. It was the same thing, but in the context of starting, whether it's projects or ideas, businesses. After all those conversations we had, I'm like, okay, guys, we should do something. Let's try and,
fair enough.
That's just so much. We didn't sign up for that type of thing.
Let's just face our books and
it was a lot to expect from that time. We were all in second year. So eventually, in my third year, I got a new leadership team to run the ASA, and then African Impact Initiative. That was when that started.
Okay, and that was still a part of U of T as well.
Yeah, initially we started as a part of U of T in 2016. In 2018 was when we registered it as a separate entity. The vision is to create this reality where it's never too early or too difficult for early African innovators to bring their ideas to life. I guess seeds that planted that as well was 2016 was the year that I would say my relationship with God really started. I grew up a Christian and I went to church and all of that in Nigeria. but the way I understood God and Christianity was not personal at the time. In 2013, I haven't shared this a lot, but in 2013, when I was graduating from high school, that was the first time I would say that um, I felt God tangibly. So I told you I was a troublemaker, so I was a real troublemaker.
I'm still trying to.
So I'd started like a black market sort of thing back then because
Wow. Wait, please, you have to give us more context. Black market, what was being sold in this black market?
So we went a lot to bring food, as you said,
Yes.
from out of school. But I mean, I love food. I still love food till today. So that was something I just struggled to. So I would bring food, hide it and smuggle it and stuff. And then I would sell it in school. I would eat my bits, but I was in school. And we're not allowed to bring money, so I would convince people to smuggle money in as well. So
before school resumes, they already planned to buy.
And eventually we even got teachers to start buying. I guess we like that entrepreneurial
spirit has always been there.
I wasn't doing it the right way then. I was doing it
fair enough.
Selfish gain. Anyways,
wow.
I digress. So that was a very formative time. I would say that's when my faith journey started. When I moved to Canada, I started well. I was trying my best, but I knew it was hard. And all that stuff I told you at the beginning. Adapting. So soon after, I'd say like maybe my first semester, I was going to church. I was trying. I was praying. But like by my second semester, it was just really difficult, and I made a lot of mistakes. 2014 to 2016, I was wild. I was like, let's just say I was wild. And in 2016, I started calming down a little bit, not even for the right reason, to be honest. At the time, I was like dating someone who was, her faith was very important to her, and she was like my best friend. So she saw the craziness I used to do.
So sorry, I feel like I'm cutting you, but I just want to say like how like a guy would just like meet someone and start wanting to come to church, and start wanting to like do better. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as we get to that end goal, however way, like the end goal being like a relationship with God, I feel like God can use people as well too. Yes.
We broke up. Eventually, I feel like God was protecting her from me really at the time.
Oh my God.
So, but that heartbreak happened the same week that I failed like a course for the first time, like some accounting course that I really needed to. It was one of those courses that it's a prerequisite for.
Like 3 credits.
Yeah, like if you don't pass it at this time, it kind of just extends because you have to retake it, but it just extends your
time. Wow.
I failed that course. I used to also gamble quite a bit too. And I used to make a lot of money from that. So that year, I spent a lot of money on my birthday that year because I was thinking I was going to get some job at Rogers, like an internship at Rogers. That was pretty much mine. But that same week, Rogers back at him like, oh, sorry, we're no longer able to do it. So that week, 2016,
was a lot.
That week in May 2016 was painful. And normally, I'd have my girlfriend to,
at least cry too. Yeah.
But that was also God. So I remember that week I went back on my knees again. I was like, okay, God.
Please, I'm back.
But this time I didn't know that I wasn't even that sure that he was. This time I was like, because you come to this country and there's all sorts of and different,
and then life will just like, I feel like real life really hits, and it can get tough to even just still hold on to one's faith. Like it has to be more than just, they said there is a God.
Exactly.
Like you have to find God for yourself to actually. So I can relate. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That was then when I was praying. I was like, I guess asking him. I was about to start praying, but I was like, I don't even know if I believe what I'm doing. So I was just like, okay, you know what? If you're real, please reveal yourself to me.
That's such a powerful prayer.
Yeah, and very powerful prayer. I highly recommend anyone that is listening that isn't sure, like if you ask God that, He will.
Yes.
Like, if you mean it, you ask Him that because that was the prayer I prayed.
You're giving a word, a serious word, yeah.
And then I remember the next day after that, I went back into, I did some things I shouldn't have done. Let me just put it like that. Like I drank a lot and I made some bad decisions. And just in trying to, you know how when you're like in a bad place and I was very angry. I'm like, I was trying to change and all this happened. So I was like, let me just go back to what I'm comfortable doing. And the day after that, my mom calls me and then she's like, I'm just checking in, and she has a cousin who is a pastor, so one of my uncles back home.
Okay.
And then she was like, oh, he called her and he told her that God had a message for me and that he didn't understand the context. And my mom either didn't understand the context. But the message was that he heard my prayer 2 days ago.
Wow.
I wanted me to know that's Israel.
Oh my God.
And that he wants me to seek him. And then the other thing was that he saw what I did yesterday. My mom didn't know, the pastor didn't know, I knew what I did. And he wasn't.
I need to adjust myself.
He saw what I did yesterday, and that was that made him angry. But yeah, he wants me to seek him. That was the right thing.
Wow.
That thing shook me to my core. I was like, I didn't know that. At that time, I didn't know that God knew us individually.
I can so relate to this thing. I can so relate. Like,
so I was scared. I was like, you know, just like, wow, so hasn't been seeing everything.
Yeah.
I remember I Googled what it means to seek him, and everything was like the word. And yeah, that was when I would say transformation started. He fixed some things. He gave me that peace, you know, that surpasses understanding. So I started asking him to help me like change. And it didn't happen overnight. It's like 2016 and 2017 were the hardest years of my life. But he took away a lot of people from my life. He took away a lot of things from my life and helped me to just find peace with nothing, like with, you know, because I used to be a person who also wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be an entrepreneur and do business stuff, but for the wrong reasons. I wanted to make a lot of money and be rich. And so he kept me broke for like 2 years.
Wow.
To like prune me of that. There's a deeper story. I know that's not the purpose of this. So
no, honestly, like this has been so. I don't even know what to use, but I'm sure this is going to bless so many people. And I did pray before this podcast, like, so I'm just like, God.
Yeah, I don't think I can tell any authentic version of my story without alluding to that season. Because like you said, people see who I am now. The Holy Spirit is all I can say. And it's like, to close the loop on this story and kind of go back to the question. Yeah, so 2016, 2017, hard year, very tough times. 2016, end of 2016, I got sick. And I was in the hospital, and I was unconscious for some time.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty bad. It was like I was at the brink of leaving. And
did you have any family with you? Like,
my brother was here. My parents.
Oh, okay.
My dad had to fly down when I was in the hospital. When I got back to campus after that thing happened to me in the summer, I was very on fire for God. I was very, and I was like, everybody needs to know. Like I was excited that he had revealed himself to me, and I just felt like, yeah, like, you know, my friends, because
you can't keep this to yourself.
Yeah, you know, so I was telling everybody. I was like, you know, and people were like, what's going on with this guy? And so a lot of people were cutting me off and whatnot.
Wow.
Which was painful. That was when he planted African Impact Interest in my heart. That's my story. So I started that then.
So was that the second initiative you started, or was that the first?
That was the first.
That was the first. Okay.
Yeah. I started that then. Now I look back, it was most painful season of my life, but at the same time it was the best, most like long-term fruitful season of my life.
That is deep.
Yeah. So that all that happened, and then by God's grace I graduated in 2018. In 2017, it just taught me a lot of critical lessons, even about what the purpose of life is. You know,
that is I know that's such a prevailing question even today, and like amongst young people.
Yeah.
Like, what is really life about? You get to the point where you find that, okay, chasing money is not enough. Having the best job, the best career is not enough. And there's more to life.
There's more to life.
Yeah.
And every one of us, like, he creates us with a specific purpose. He creates us with specific gifts. The challenge, I guess, is just, life, again, there's so many distractions. If one can know Christ, it's never even too late, but if one can just know Christ, and surrender to the fact that we're here for something bigger than
like it's like a pilgrimage. It's just for
for some time, and it's to whatever the purpose is. Oftentimes, it's restorative, it's redemptive, it's helping people, it's loving people. Of course, it comes in sometimes in the form of a job or a role. So I remember, like, you said job searching, all of that. Yeah, I was very much in that mode because at this time I was about to graduate.
Yeah.
So I remember I wrote a list of companies and I'm like, God, like,
just help me run one or two.
I wrote them. I was like, so this is the first one.
God.
And heard everything. Like I didn't get any of them. Rejection. So I was like, why are you like not answering my prayers? So I was very angry. And he gave me what he knew I needed. So like the job I ended up getting, something that I was a very proud person before, like something that I would have never done. I wasn't even comfortable doing itself when I was doing it. I needed to do it just to like
make ends meet.
But in that job, my pride was stripped. Like it stripped my pride. I was broke, like I said. I remember that summer, my friends ended up graduating a year before me. So I remember that summer, everybody had graduated. They were working their jobs, so they were all like hanging out,
in corporate with suits.
They were even inviting me for things I couldn't go because I had no money. Like I couldn't afford to even get on the bus and go. It was a very difficult time. My name, Efosa, like that's when he revealed to me that I've always known what my name meant. Like it means God's wealth. And that was when he revealed to me that, like I was supposed to help him steward his resources to help people. But I couldn't do that with the heart I had then. I couldn't do that with the heart that didn't have a detachment from material things. And he got me to get towards that place because, believe it or not, eventually I found joy with nothing. Like I found just with his presence, and towards the end of 2017, going into 2018, I was like, okay, you know what? After I'd seen how everything played out that year, I was like, I'm going to stop asking and you're doing what you want. So I'm going to stop asking.
They were correlated.
For
anything, yeah.
And I'm going to just surrender. And I didn't say that with, that's the right thing to do, but I didn't say that with the right motive. I was just frustrated.
You're just
like literally, like I just surrender. I'm going to stop asking, take control. BFN, AI, all the stuff that happened 2018 till today, the last 7 years, I've just been living in this dream. It hasn't been without hardship, but like I can't take credit for anything that's happened because I'm just like in the script. When you truly let go and trust, because when I started seeing how interested he was in my life, I was like, I don't know if I'm on the same page as you, like, because I thought maybe you wanted me to be a pastor. So the first time I ever got out to God, I remember writing, like, thank you for and everything. Like, can I just be a Christian? I'll obey you and stuff, but I want to do it. I want to be a business guy. I have all this plan. Can you allow me to do my thing? And I'll obey the rules. And I laugh now because then I didn't trust his plan for me. And I thought my plan was better. But I could have never even planned for BFN. To answer your question, did I think I could do that?
Oh, like be an entrepreneur and all of that.
Like I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but did I think I could do
something as big as this?
Right, it hasn't been me. So it's not even like there was anything that I did to do it. But.
Like thank you so much for sharing this. Like it has even blessed me because like I could relate to like a couple of things that you said. And I remember even just like hearing about BFN and then just digging more, and then I don't know, for some reason I just expected like the founder to be like an older person, like this elderly person that has, spent lots of years. And then I remember seeing a picture where I was like, wow, okay.
That's good. I guess I'm not
Yeah.
old yet, so that's a good
No,
thing.
no, no, you don't look old, trust me. And it was just so inspiring to see like a young person like you having built something this much. And even to your point on like motive, like it's so clear that the reason behind it and the core of BFN is to help people. And it's like it shows. And yeah, glory to God,
Glory to God,
honestly.
yeah. Thank God.
Ooh,
Sorry,
okay,
we can go
so
back to the script.
do you feel like life abroad is greener and
Mm.
easier? Can you also tie it to like the context of being a business owner? Is it easier to be a business owner abroad, like here in Canada, as opposed to maybe back home in Nigeria?
That's a good question. It depends because so like with the work I do, African Impact now it's growing a lot, and we do a lot of stuff supporting African entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
And BFN obviously support Black entrepreneurs and diaspora. So I see both sides every day. Causes or things that lead to people becoming entrepreneurs on both sides are different. First of all,
Hmm.
back home,
True.
yeah, back home, a lot of entrepreneurs that we fund there and that we support there are entrepreneurs because there's no other option. Like,
Yes.
they just have to do something with their hand because they can get a
To
job.
survive.
And,
Yeah.
whereas here, I mean, the average person, obviously, that immigrant is a bit hard, but the average Canadian that goes to school, that actually finishes from school,
Mm-hmm.
um, eventually finds a job, an ideal corporate job, or even if you're still looking for that, you can work in Walmart or something, or do some. Whereas, so to be an entrepreneur here, I feel like there are a lot of other things you can do. Whereas back home, like you can't really do a lot of other things.
True.
So that's a difference.
I feel like 9 times out of 10, even people that have corporate jobs back home, they still have some side hustle just to be able to like match up with their expenses and stuff. Yes.
Exactly. So that's the first thing I'll say when I'm looking
Yeah.
at both sides. Um, Also, the problems that are being solved, or the problems that are left to be solved. Back home, there are a lot of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, very like pressing basic things are still not solved,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is also again a lot more driven from like a necessity standpoint
Yes.
back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas here, um, it is in a nice building doing this interview, like
Yeah.
things are working. You have to do a little bit more. Like there are a lot more bad ideas. Let me put it here, because things are working, and so you have to really find something that hasn't yet already been done. Whereas back home, there are some obvious things that, like, if you can fix this to make you money. So that's also a different thing.
I'm sorry, I'm still like on there's lots of bad ideas.
No, but it's true. It's true. I think the challenge here and in the work I do, the way I look at it, even when I think about and I reflect on BFN, the way I said it depends. Because if you're a black entrepreneur here, the challenge you face is more around, it's not the stuff back home about, like you had other options here. The challenge you face is more of is your identity, is your race. And it's the barriers that you face because of your race, not necessarily because of entrepreneurship. Even what led me to starting BFN and like, obviously God directed my steps.
Mhm.
I was working at Dell for some time before I transitioned to
Interesting.
BFN.
What did you do for them?
I used to work I did a bunch of different things. My first role was an account manager for small businesses and startups. So I learned a lot about small businesses and startups because it was across like thousands of them, like over the time that I was there that I supported. I got promoted very quickly to be the manager of that team, or to like lead that team and, and handle larger projects. And then towards the end, I worked on a social impact sort of side. All that stuff built a lot of muscle. Also, another thing that before I wasn't a hardworking person. I was
Okay.
yeah.
All this is you're dropping. Okay.
I know, for real.
Maybe by your standards of now. Like
Yeah, no, even that in general. Like when I think about, remember when I was reading the Bible, when I learned about Jacob, that's me. Like cutting corners and all of that. Like I was very like, how do I get to this place in the shortest way possible?
Fair enough.
But Dell was like, there was work. I think that built my work ethic. Like, I
Mm.
wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing now if I didn't have that season.
Mhm.
Because it was very, it was very intense.
And then while you were at Bill, had BFN started?
BFN hadn't started.
No. Okay.
Yeah, so BFN hadn't started. It was in my while I was at Dell. AI was doing well. So AI had been growing, but we raised money. Like, so far, we've raised about 6 million. But
Oh
that's
wow.
that has been faithful. He brought all of that to us. But like because of the purpose of the
Yeah.
organization,
I
my
was.
role in it,
Mhm.
I never really, I've never like been paid from it. It was something I did. It was almost like I joke sometimes. Like when I realized all the bad, I'm like, okay. When I finally decided, okay, God, I want to,
Mhm.
you know, I really remember that year in 2016 when I was like, what was next?
Mhm. Mhm.
Starting that was almost like my let me do something good for once.
And then for AI, can you just give us a bit of a background about it? Because I mostly know about BFN. And I
Yeah,
know you mentioned supporting businesses in Nigeria through
yeah,
that as well. So
yeah.
it's beyond Canada, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of people don't see it as much because a lot of the work we do is in Africa.
Isn't
Although we
okay.
do a few things, but
Okay.
yeah, high level, we have two pillars.
Mhm.
So a pillar of stuff on the continent is called the African Impact Challenge. So it's a
Okay.
program that invests in early African entrepreneurs. So market creating innovations are things that make products or services more affordable or accessible to the
Mm.
target users. These target users, we call them non-consumers. So we target non-consumption. Non-consumers are people in a demographic country that currently can't afford or
Afford.
access
Mm.
something. So we invest in entrepreneurs who are building solutions for those people that are more affordable than what's in the market. In 2020, we did it in Ghana, 2021, Kenya,
Wow.
22, Rwanda, 23, South Africa,
Oh
24,
wow.
Botswana. So we've
That's
done it across
amazing.
different countries, trained thousands, invested in hundreds of companies aligned with that.
Oh, so that means you've moved around these different countries.
Yeah, yes, I travel quite a bit. Right now, I'm not there now because the team has grown and so people are doing a lot what I'm doing. But
Mm.
yeah, just yesterday we had something in Nigeria.
Oh, nice.
Something is happening in Kenya next week and then the week after. So there's a lot of stuff
Wow.
going on for
That's
that.
amazing.
Yeah, so God has been faithful with the organization. So that's the stuff we do on the continent. And in Canada, recently we launched our Bridge program. So Bridge stands for Building Resilient Immigrants through Diversity, Guidance, and Empowerment.
Mm.
And it's focused on solving some of those challenges I told you about and that you mentioned too, like the new immigrant comes, you have all these challenges.
Yeah.
You can't access financial aid because that's only for Canadians. You
Yeah.
can't access, you can't get a first job because you don't have Canadian work experience. We do, for example, for those two things, we have scholarships for African students that we provide in Canada. We
Wow.
have
That's so
financial
good.
aid as well, like Canada. And we have work
Mm.
placements for African students without Canadian experience that are paid. So I'm still, I started it, I'm still the founder. I'd say I spend like not as much time as I spend on
On
BFN
it.
on that,
Fair
but that's
enough.
because we have a bigger team. Like we have an executive director now,
That's really good.
and like staff in all those countries. So
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
that started, and even why I had to still do Dell, even when that started going well, was because that wasn't what I wasn't getting paid from
Paid
it.
from you.
So I still
Okay.
needed, and also I wanted to get my whole immigration stuff in
Yeah, so you
Canada, so
need
I needed to
a
actually get
job.
a job, and so Dell was like my work permit years. That's when I was there.
So
Then when I got
good.
my PR, yeah, it was around the time I got my PR that as I was getting more senior at Dell, the work I was doing on a day to day became less aligned in the sense that it became more about like numbers and about
Mm.
just optimizing for the company's profits as you become part of like management and everything. And I liked the beginning when I was helping customers. At least I could go home
Mm.
and feel like, okay,
Helping businesses
I
and
did stuff. So I started feeling this tension that, okay, this isn't, which was very like difficult to understand because God had put me here. Like I didn't even where I got the job. That's a different testimony, but it was clearly God. So I was like confused. I'm like, and then he promoted me so quickly twice. I was managing people, no one knew my age, and people think I'm much older than I am and everything. So people thought I was like, oh, this, but I was like a kid, and I was managing people like my parents' age.
Oh wow.
So God was really with me, and I knew, and gave him all the credits for everything that was happening. So when I started feeling this discomfort, I was like, but I thought this was where you wanted me to be.
Yeah.
One of the last things I did there, which also was very precursor to BFN, was George Floyd passed away. There's this, you probably have heard of that. Yeah. Black Lives Matter became a thing. So this is 2020. At the time at Dell, we had started our Black Employee ERG, like employee resource group. It was called the Black Networking Alliance.
Okay.
It was basically like Dell's community for Black employees who wanted to give back to the Black community more broadly. Okay. So starting that, just starting to see the disparity that existed in for being Black here.
Yeah.
That was a difference because like I feel like I was African before. Like, Nigerian, I was African. But I started really understanding like, man, okay, Black.
Yeah.
So that was like the last thing I did at Dell. Yeah, the BFN opportunity came. The University of Toronto, where I went to school, who've been like super. And think about when I said I was almost not going to come here. They've given, out of the $6 billion that AI has raised, they've given us about almost half of that.
Wow.
Mastercard Foundation has given us the other bit. BFN, when it was like they helped start BFN because basically when there was a lot more awareness around the Black sort of disparity, they reached out. They were like looking internally, like, because they had supported AI. They reached out to me and they were like, "Oh, they want to do something more for the Black community in Canada."
Oh, wow. So they reached out to you for BFN. Wow.
That they want to do something for the Black community in Canada, and but they don't know where to start or what to do. And I remember, and I've been praying about this for 2 years, like praying about, okay, God, what's next? What's next? Even in my wisdom, my lack of wisdom, I had applied to a bunch of different places that I was probably overqualified for. That were more like, they were more startup-y,
Okay.
It was everywhere I applied to all these like VC funds, work there, or like startup accelerators to work there. And I was getting rejected. But I'd grown in my spiritual maturity at this time, so I knew that wasn't, and in general, like that
wasn't for you then.
Oh yeah, God was just blocking it. But I was a bit impatient because I'm like, well, what am I like? What is it then?
Yeah.
So I remember the BFN opportunity when they told me that was in December 2020. And I just remember when I prayed and I just got that conviction. I was like, okay, there was no BFN yet because I was so busy, but that conviction that okay, make time for this because this is going to lead to something important. So January 2021, between then and September 2021, busiest time probably of my career. Like I was doing my Dell job, I was doing AI, but then I had to add BFN. I had to add the research for what became BFN. Because basically, the agreement I had with the university for that period was to do research and talk to Black entrepreneurs. Because they wanted me to tell them at first what to do. But I was like, the same thing you tell startups is like, or businesses, like you have to, first of all, talk to your customers and understand the problem before building something. I couldn't just, so the same analogy.
You mentioned that at the last BFN event I went for, that was so good, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, like I say that all the time, right? It's like, so that's what I couldn't, I had to practice what I preach. So I told them, like, I didn't even think it was going to lead into anything. At this time, I didn't know what was happening. Like, I didn't know what could happen. So I was just trying to, I was like, yeah, this is an important problem. I remember I spoke, they invited me to speak at one event when I was still at Dell. And that was the first time that I had seen any questions about Black. Because normally I'm talking about either tech or I'm talking about African stuff. So me, I didn't even know anything about Black entrepreneurship then. I remember I had to go and like start doing some research, and I saw like okay, all the stats that were so bad. So those like 2020 towards the end, when I now said okay, let's talk to the Black entrepreneurs one on one. I spent those 8 months after my day jobs, like in the evenings, over the weekends. I talked to like over 100 people. This we were talking now,
Wow.
Black founders in Canada.
And did you just like put out a post on social media or something saying that, oh, you wanted to?
No. I guess so. That was the other thing too. My God, just others are steps, right? Because everything I've done, like so, love the people
Mhm.
I knew first
First hand. Oh, okay, okay.
because I've done the Black Networking Alliance thing at Dell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ASA I started at the beginning, so I was very well positioned to have access to people I needed to talk to.
Yeah.
So I guess that reaching out to people like, hey, trying to do some research to understand
The
the
challenges
challenges you're
around.
facing.
Yeah.
From everything,
Okay, I was going to actually ask, like, what was there like a common theme across different businesses?
100%. Yeah. And that's what's led to BFN. So from all those things, I thought like, and it's still a big problem, capital or lack of capital. But I thought that was going to
Yeah.
be the biggest problem. But the biggest thing that they told us was lack of community. So the biggest thing they told us was, and they said it in different ways, but basically from the entrepreneur to entrepreneur side, like when you're going into programs, a few of them that went into programs, that's what everybody we talked to, only like 30% of them actually used any formal program. A lot of them just started because they couldn't get into the program. Those that went into programs are often the only Black entrepreneur in the program, like in the accelerator or the whatever beta that they were in.
And you probably have to pay for those, right? Because
Exactly, they weren't as accessible.
Yeah.
And then the people who used to instruct these programs, like the program managers or the investors and residents, whatever, but also there was no Black.
There were no. Oh my god.
So oftentimes people would be in these programs and they would be building something or have an idea about something, but people would always tell them it's a bad idea just because they couldn't relate to the problem.
Yeah, it's
right?
not their lived
It's not their lived
experience.
experience. So there was a lot of that. That came out a lot, which was something that I wasn't expecting. Like, it sounds obvious now, but at the time I wasn't expecting to hear that as the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So people really wanted more inclusive, like version of things they had tried to go to that weren't welcoming. So even why we're called a network is because of that. Like the name BFN, like Black Founders Network. That was one of the questions I would ask people. Like after finding out the challenges, and I was starting to ask them, okay, what should we build for them? In different words, they kind of said that
Network.
and then of course we still have to provide those things. So that's why we still provide capital because that was huge still. Like
Yes.
there was lack of access to that. The programs also needed to be stage specific because we found that there were people in different stages of the journey. There were people that were like just trying to start. There were people that were already in the game.
Started, yeah.
So, and then the industry is also very broad. So that's why we support all industries. But the research was helpful to kind of learn a lot. So, and truly, that's what I said at the beginning. Like, I can't take credit for building BFN because I didn't build it myself. Like those people we spoke to, those 100 and something people.
Wow.
Like, and one of our slogans, it's like built by us for us. Like that's why we say that because it was what they said that we took back to the university. And at the time, university, I didn't even know what they were going to do with it. I thought they were just like, I wasn't even thinking.
It was just more like research focus. Yeah.
Let's give them back. And funny thing at this time, Dell was like even wanting to like Dell gave me my last promotion around this time.
Oh wow!
So I was like confused because I was like, God, like I thought like I'm supposed to be getting ready to leave.
That would have been tough.
Yeah, I was very confused about it. And the funny thing that he was doing was like I was honest with my managers, because if I took it, I wouldn't have been able to move internally for like the next 2 years.
So you have to like, yeah, I think I've heard of that. I feel like it is so amazing, honestly, and it is not paid.
Oh yeah.
Like it is not like
free,
it's free.
Our events are free, our programs are free. Everything is
Yeah, even the events. Like I remember going and I'm like, how is this free? Because even the food is so good. I remember I mentioned this to you.
You did. Yeah.
I was like, how is this free?
Yeah,
So
is free because we're
if
trying to make money from this. So
yeah, if you're in Canada and you've not heard about BFN, you need to look them up. And I'm going to put their social media handles on the screen and in the description as well. So make sure you check them out. Sorry, that's just it.
I think please do check us out. Yeah, BFN community.
Yeah, but sorry, back to my question. I talk a lot, by the way.
Good.
But my
yeah, so
question,
there were two. I'll say there's two questions. There's the example of the business, and then there's like programs as well. So maybe I'll try to combine.
Yes.
So yeah, we have programs for different stages. BFN Core is our starting point sort of stream.
Okay.
So at this point, you're a black individual that just has an idea, or maybe you don't have an idea. You're trying to figure out how do you get an idea, but you want to become an entrepreneur. So in this stream, we help you to do the validation of your idea. We help you to then build what you call like an MVP prototype. And then we provide some funding here as well. So we do Smart Awards or pitch competition prizes. So like 4K.
I attended one of the
pitches, exactly. So the people that win, get the money. They get some support as well. And the goal of that stream is to go from an idea to building your product or service and getting your first paying customer. So
nice.
we take you through that journey. We have programming focused on helping find co-founders because oftentimes you come in alone and you need to build a team. So we have programming that helps you like build your team over time. And we have programming that also provides while you're doing that, because that doesn't happen very quickly. We have developers and designers in residence who we pay, like these are black. So go back to trying to get people jobs, black people that are skilled at software development or design or sales, whatever the thing may be, like that we pay. So you have access to these guys for free to build your product.
Websites and all of that.
Your website, your app, while you're in the program. So that's
even apps. Wow.
We have apps, websites, whatever the case may be, because they're getting paid to work, so they can get like doing work.
This is amazing.
So that's BFN Core. BFN Accelerate is you've built a product that has started selling. You have some traction, revenue with sales. You may or may not have raised some money, but it can be a lot. It has to be like early traction, early fundraising.
Okay.
And we help you to accelerate things. So this stream, and I think that's one of the ones that I'm talking about that's like very intense for time. So this are building here. They have access to like the building. They have offices. They have access to the co-working space.
Nice.
They get up to 25K per company as well. To
$25,000.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
To like help accelerate their growth. And the program is very focused on accelerating revenue, your users, your partnerships.
And do you also help them with like, because I can imagine receiving $25,000 as a startup. Like, do you help them allocate those funds like in different parts of their business? Like, do you guide them through that? Okay.
Yeah. So we have entrepreneurs in residence and experts in residence. So we basically have like team members who are paired with the companies.
Okay.
And we do needs assessments before they get accepted. So we also know the priority areas of the business. So the fund is not just take and go. It's like very tight to the programming and
that's really good.
Accountability as well. Yeah, so the goal is like they come out of the program, and then we have our demo days usually all like that kind of when you graduate. And at this point, they've accelerated their numbers, action, and they even raise more funds than investors to like get their pitches and things. So that's accelerates. Then the last stream is BFN Scale, which is for companies that have been making money. So you're making 250K or more since inception. And so you're at the point where you've already been accelerated. Or you need to now just
even bigger.
So for this stream, not as intense as the other two, because the entrepreneurs are a lot busier. Like they have
more experience.
experience, and they know they already know the basics of they come in, we do a need assessment, and we identify like three things, two things. Sometimes it's the one thing that we need to unblock to help you scale. And we spend a year working with them. We give them money as well, 50K or more, but they already have money, so that's not usually the biggest thing.
It's even so like amazing to hear that they are black owned. Like, I mean, I guess I haven't thought about it deeply, but just the fact that there are black owned businesses that have revenue of 250K and above.
Well, it wasn't always like that.
Like that.
But you're right. It's when we started BFM, we had the same framework of program, but we started with the first two. Because they weren't people
so many businesses.
But now the people that have gone through those, there are a lot of them now that are
now they've gone through the program and then got into the scale.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now at scale. Oftentimes it's helping them scale out of just this market in Canada to like other markets. Oftentimes it's helping them to scale in terms of like maybe protect their IP more because they are trying to now build another product. And so it's very like specific to each business. And going back to your
BFN is changing lives, honestly, because
Thank God. And the example I'll give, for example, is a company that I've literally seen from start to the end. Like now they're at scale.
Okay, what do they? Are you able to say what they do? Okay.
Yeah. The name of the company is Ready, so it's REEDDI.
Okay, DDI.
And I give it as an example because it's very close to home for me, for us actually, as Nigerians, because the founder is a Nigerian.
Okay.
Born and raised in Nigeria, moved here. So, the problem of light, like electricity, 24/7 is what they've solved, are solving.
Okay.
Where he was, and that's what he came to study. Studies engineering. He was learning all that stuff.
Wow.
So they've built like a bunch of products now, but their first one was a capsule, maybe like thicker size.
Okay.
But this capsule can power like a house. And
wow.
Like with electricity, and it's super cheap. Like so, because they deploy it in Nigeria.
Really?
So people rent it for like as cheap as like a couple hundred nairas a day.
Wow.
But I saw this thing.
If you're in Nigeria, please look for them because it's needed.
Oh yeah, they're doing so well. They created financial value like millions of dollars.
I can imagine because the electricity problem in Nigeria is not good at all. People spend thousands of naira buying fuel and trying to just power their homes.
It's not just in Nigeria. Like I remember when by the time South Africa was having they started having outages a few years ago because they never used to have power outages. And I remember, so they are freaking out in South Africa and DSTV. So they were talking to DSTV. DSTV reached out to them because DSTV was losing numbers because people were not watching as much. So DSTV reached out to them to even like partner on the capsules, to include the capsules in their DSTV plans for people.
Wow.
They've won awards like Times Best Innovation, Fast Best Innovation. I remember the time he met the Prince of England.
Wow.
I've seen these things go from an idea. So they went accelerate
and part of it,
they took part in our programs. They won competitions back then.
How does that make you feel? Like seeing like I just
it's and it goes back to like it's about integration, it's about service, right? It's about helping because things like that I could have known when I started. I remember when that started, I didn't see this happen. I didn't think that far ahead. We were just like, let's help you build the product.
Let's see where it
goes. Then you get to the program, and one thing leads to another. And I think the idea, because now they are giving back, they've gotten to the point now that they are like making a lot of money, and even this scale now, like he even has a bunch of new products under the Ready brand that is like trying to like expand. So even him being in scale now, we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we create new segments, and how do we scale Ready? Because like the electricity problem is not just in Nigeria. So how do we scale it to those places? But just the idea that and that's what I think we've created, and we're creating the idea that someone can start and go. But because they have such they have such an affinity to the community, like BFN. They will pour back when they can, right? Because that's what got them started, and they will give back their time. And so, without knowing it, like we've built, because more people keep getting success over time, and to compound. But they will have the right motives to really help those coming after them again. So that sort of self-sustaining
cycle. Yeah, that is so amazing. And I'm just thinking about it, like to your point of funding not even just being the main issue of a startup or a business, like it's having
I think getting customers.
And having that support to actually carry your idea and grow it. Because out there's a lot of organizations giving funding. There's funding for that. Even the government is giving funding, right? But then you don't see as many thriving startups. I feel like this is what makes the difference, like being able to give them the additional support in terms of like ideas on how to grow their business, not just giving them the money and leaving them to figure things out on their own. So yeah, amazing work. I'm in the presence of greatness today. Thank you. Well, even in like the BFN office, by the way, thank you so much for hosting us. So I think we've already kind of touched on this. I was going to ask how important community is to the success of a business, but clearly we've seen that it's very important. So make sure, like, if you are looking to start a business or you own a business, that you are part of a community like BFN, because it clearly makes such a difference. And yeah, just you've kind of touched on like the different projects that you have coming up, but are there any other exciting like projects or events that are coming up that we should look forward to?
Yeah, it depends on when this airs. So yeah, the women's pillar is like very exciting. Like the series, it shows stories of, again, and that your previous question about examples, it shows a lot of good examples, but of women that's gone through our programs and now are just like killing it, making millions, raising millions.
Love it. And would you like show them in their I guess in their is it prime or not prime? In their elements, like doing their business and doing their
and then they share and they make it practical, because I think going back to what you said, so they share like how they've got there and then have the crucial points. There's a workbook. We also, and then they'll say, we like big shout out to my team, the women of my team, especially Pfizer.
Shout out to you.
They we wrote a book, like they documented the series with a book as well that you kind of use along with the series when you're watching it.
Oh, okay. So the series has already been it's been filmed.
It's been filmed, yeah.
Nice.
So premiered it at the event yesterday.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing it, watching it.
I don't think I've been as excited as for this as for anything else that we've done. So yeah, very, very highly recommend, especially whenever this is out.
Where is it going to be, Ed?
So we'll have the first episode, because it's like about 30 have been done, but we'll be releasing them probably like sequentially. It will either be on I think the trailer will probably be on our YouTube.
Nice.
But having we've also been building a platform, like a digital platform, kind of BFN, but a digital BFN.
Okay.
That would house the content. So that will be ready soon. So yeah, that's definitely keeping me excited.
Yeah, that's really nice.
All those programs I mentioned, BFN Core, Accelerate and Scale. Also, applications are actually still open. Closing on March 24th.
March 24th. Okay, I'll try to get this out before then.
Yeah, so if it's out before then, please apply. And if there's people that see it from this, maybe it's out slightly later, but they saw it from this, just reach out to Eniola and let her know. We can make an exception.
Work something out.
Oh, out as soon.
Thank you so much.
Please apply. So those programs. Then there's a program I didn't talk about that might be of interest for your audience, called the Black Career Advancement Program.
Okay.
So this program is focused on bridging the gap between Black talent and Black businesses in the areas that the businesses have demand for talent. We observed that a lot of the funding we were giving, the biggest line item of what they spend on is talent. Whether it's like direct team hires or whether it's like contract services.
Really? Okay.
But because Black founders are underfunded, they have a relatively higher cost or opportunity cost when they spend on talent. So getting them affordable talent is also important. Um, as much as we give you 25K, you're living in Canada, so that's not going to pay anybody's salary, right? So we know that that's a good start, but it's not necessarily enough to help you like
Exhaust.
hire
Yeah.
people. So and then at the same time, we know that there are a lot of black people who are job searching and trying so hard to
Yeah.
find jobs and can't find any job.
Even the economy has not been so
Been
favorable for job
bad.
seekers.
Yeah, like I think in the way this 2008 recession, I think like when I look back at this period,
Yeah.
it's comparable to that
Mm.
because yeah, it's very tough. So that's why we started this program. We got some funding from the Ministry of Multiculturalism,
Okay,
where
nice.
we're able to now give startups, black-led startups in our programs, separate funding from what they get for the program, but that we call hiring grants that they have to use to hire black people specifically from our community.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And then the black people, like the talent side, we train the talents in line with the areas of demand
Expertise.
that the companies need because we get that data from them when they like join BFN. So this year in particular, we train them, and after we finish training them, when you are competent enough, then you get a paid role
Get
with one of the
assigned.
companies. So this year, the areas of focus, anything software engineering / kind of building for the software side, AI, all that good stuff. User experience, like digital marketing, let me call it that. Anything from content creation to graphic design, or just marketing in general, and then design. So user experience, user interface, like UX, UI. So those are the 3 tracks for 2025. And
Nice.
applications will be opening very soon. So whenever your end is, I'm sure they'll probably still be opening. So we'll be looking for black talents that are trying to get roles in those 3 areas. And then folks that get in, they'll get trained over the spring. So like kind of before the summer months. And then when we recruit the companies in the summer, they get paired. So that program is also something to look out for.
I know that will be very helpful for a lot of people.
We've done it for 2 years now.
Okay, nice.
So this is the third. Yeah, thankfully the province keeps renewing the funding. So
so if you are job seeking, make sure you reach out to BFN, apply, and like when it's out, right? So applications are going to be out soon.
They'll be out probably in a week or 2.
So. Okay. So it will definitely be out when you're watching this. It will be out. Yeah, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much, Efosa. This was such an inspiring, refreshing conversation, and I even learned a lot. So I'm 100% sure that everyone watching has also learned a lot. So please help me thank Efosa in the comment section.
Thank you.
And I'm going to put all like his social media and also BFN's social media as well. And also the AII as well.
Yes,
I'll also include that in the description.
Yeah, shameless plug for that one actually. Anybody that's building in Nigeria. So our next challenge is going to be in Nigeria.
Nice.
So we're going to be investing between now and next year, 2026, in Nigerian companies or entrepreneurs in Nigeria building tied to that theme I told you about, like making things more affordable, accessible. We also do up to 25K per company for that, and you get to go through a program, and we bring you to Toronto as well. Cover all the expenses for the following summer, so for next summer. So if you're interested in this, yeah, check that out. Website is africanimpact.ca. You can probably put the
information. Yeah, I know 25K would also go a lot for any business in Nigeria. Like go a long way.
Longer way, in fact.
Longer way, exactly. So yeah,
I know. Thank you for having me as well. Thank you for being persistent. I know. It was tough to schedule, but I'm glad. I really enjoyed the conversation as well.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, like I wish you the best of luck with the podcast. I think I can see the passion and the drive you have, and I can see that you are doing it because you're trying to help people. A lot of people, I think, in the content space and in the influencer, let me call it space, there's a lot of potential for good, but there's also a lot of wrong motives, let me call it that, like, you know, kind of self glorification or ego or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. So I think, but I can, if I'm just talking to you for the first time properly, I can sense that you're not doing this for yourself. You're doing this for the people that are watching. So if there's any way that
Thank
we
you
can
so
help
much.
to support more,
Thank you so much.
no problem.
I'm so grateful. Honestly, I can't wait to to put this episode out. And yeah, make sure you subscribe as well. If you made it this far and you've not subscribed, I am judging you. So please subscribe and join this amazing family. This episode is going to be on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. And yeah, if you have any questions for Efosa, drop them in the comments section and I will try my best to
I'll
get it
answer
to
them, yeah.
him. Okay,
100%,
thank you
yeah.
so much. So yeah, drop your questions and I will see you guys in our next one. Bye.